Hi, I'm going to tell you guys about my experience with the eye-to-eye TEFL Level 5 180-hour online course. I just completed it, and I got my certificate emailed to me, and then I also paid for the hard copy, and they're going to mail that to me, and that should take about a month. But how it all starts out, because there's quite a story behind it, and it was quite an experience, and not all good. So a few years ago, I planned on becoming an ESL teacher, and so I looked on YouTube and I saw like Ninja Teacher on YouTube, and he said he went to Chiang Mai and spent like an entire month there in person and took his 120-hour TEFL course, and he paid like $3,000 for it. So I was like, hey, I better set aside $3,000 or whatever. And then as it started getting closer, I didn't have a bachelor's degree. I just had an associate's degree, and I really wanted a bachelor's degree so I could teach in any country in the world. So I left my employer and I started college, and I was doing 18 credits in the spring semesters, 2 credits during the summer, and then 18 credits during the fall semester. So I was just loaded up. And then you can also, over Christmas break, you can take 1 credit or 1 class too, and that's 3 credits, but that's only like a 3-week Christmas vacation. I was like, I need to rest or whatever. So yeah, as I was looking at them over the years, I also looked at U.S.A. Quite a few of the people went to for like a month, and they said they pay like $2,100, and I was like, okay, it's coming down a little bit. It's still expensive. And I thought, I used to actually go to school in Bangkok for a little while, so it's like I'd rather go there because that's where I want to work at where I wanted to work at the time, just because they are the highest paying. I'm naturally going to go to whichever city is the highest paying. I got to make a living. So I did some Google searches on it, and they had places in Bangkok that were charging $1,600 to $1,400 for a month, 1 month in-person course, and they were really rigorous and everything. I was like, okay, maybe I'll go with that. And then I looked at reviews on them too, and like there was a girl from the Philippines and a guy from Nepal that both went through those courses, and they're like, it was very expensive, but they're like, we felt that we learned so much there and all that. And I was like, okay, so maybe I'll stick with that. And like I said, this is more like 120-hour courses we're talking. And I started looking on more on YouTube again, and they started saying that the job market is getting so competitive with TEFL teachers that a lot of the countries actually require you to have a level 5 TEFL certificate, not the 120 anymore. And I was like, oh boy, I better go with the level 5, or at least look into it, because if I'm going to end up moving into a country, spend all that money on a plane ticket, and then have somebody take my job, I want to be the most qualified candidate, you know? So started looking around some more, and just some different YouTubers that headed overseas, and I wasn't sure. I looked at Nick and Rachel YouTube channel. I came across them in 2018. They actually spent an entire year working in Cambodia in Phnom Penh, and they were in the same situation as me. They had just an associate's degree, which is not recognized in Asia, and so what they ended up doing is they live in Canada, and through one of their local universities, they offered a 120-hour TEFL course for a month. And I think it was through like Oxford or Cambridge, so pretty prestigious or whatever. And they paid not even $1,000. And I was thinking in my head, I was like, okay, in a higher cost of living country like Canada, they're paying less than $1,000. But in a low cost of living country like Thailand, these companies are charging people $1,400 to $1,600. I was like, that's absolutely ridiculous. I was kind of like angry. And then I started thinking about my situation. I'm currently in college working on my bachelor's degree. And at my state university that I'm at here, their each class is worth 3 credits. And each of those credits is $275. So for an entire long semester class, I pay under $900. So I was like, yeah, you're not going to rip me off. So then I started looking into online classes there. And I ran across Ben Teaches English, a few of his videos or whatever, and it seemed like he was a really popular YouTuber. Like, I'd say he's probably like the most popular YouTuber that's actually made a career out of teaching English in all these countries. And on one of his videos, he said that the company that he went through way back in the day, because I think he's his upper 30s, 40s or something, and he went through eye-to-eye TEFL, and he's like, am I a spokesman for eye-to-eye TEFL? He's like, absolutely not. He's like, there are better courses out there than that. He's like, that's just what I went through. And so then I was like, well, I always kind of go with what people have gone with, like, especially people that are like really successful like that. So I went ahead and I Google searched eye-to-eye TEFL, and I found out that they are like the oldest TEFL course out there. They've been around since 1994. So I was like, yeah, they have to be legit. They can't be fake for being around that long, and they must really know their shit if they've been doing it that long. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna look into it. So I went underneath eye-to-eye's TEFL course, or they're underneath their website, and it was $199 for the level 5 course, and which that's the one that I wanted, because like I said, I want to be competitive in the market, and I also want to teach in person. I realized that because a lot of other YouTube videos were saying that that a lot of these 120 fully online courses are pretty much, they more prepare you for being an online teacher, and that's not what I'm after. I want to be able to handle a class setting whatever is throwing at me at that point or whatever. So I went ahead and I signed up for the level 5 class there, and I paid the $199, and this was over my Christmas break here. So Christmas break was supposed to start on the 16th for me, and then I go back to college here on the January 9th. So only about 3 weeks, not much time. And I was really burned out from the last semester of school. And I was like, and before this, I thought about it. I was like, okay, I looked at No Joke Howard, and he moved to Cambodia many years ago to become an ESL teacher, no college degree or nothing. And he ended up going through ITTT TEFL, and he got it done like 2 weeks. He signed up for it 2 weeks before his fly out there, and he didn't have much money or nothing, and he got it done and all that. And that's what I was thinking. I was like, hey, I'm gonna go through eye-to-eye TEFL instead though. But I was like, I'm just gonna hammer it every day, get one unit done, and just get it all done as soon as possible, and then have a little bit of time before school starts or whatever, just to kind of get a break or whatever. And that's not how it worked. I paid my money for this level 5 course, and it's got 10 units in it that you have to pass, and they're all online. You watch the videos, and I learned so much stuff on these here. But the thing that they throw in it though is they have 3 lesson plans you got to write up, and 3 essays you have to write up, and they're not at the end where you can just push yourself through the course and then go and do all that stuff. They're throughout it. So on unit 5, you got to do one of those essays and lesson plans. On unit 8, you have to do one, and at the end of unit 10. And the tutor has to pass you on it before you can move on to your next lesson to keep the ball rolling here. So I just went ahead and hammered it down. I was getting 1 to 2 lessons done a day, and I got to the unit 5, and I did that, and I thought I did a really nice job on it actually. And then with this here, the tutors actually are very good at grading it overnight. So I handed in that day, and that night it got graded. So the next morning when I got up, she didn't pass me. She said what stuff she wants me to change or whatever. And she's like, I want you to include materials with it. So here's another thing about eye-to-eye TEFL. With these materials, like if you're going to have flashcards in class or YouTube videos, you better have the links there for underneath the materials. And you also had better have the actual flashcards. Like, you got to go underneath Google Images, get the pictures, and make the square boxes around them. And they better not look half-ass. They have to be professional, because the first time I didn't even include the materials. I didn't think you needed them or anything. So she goes in and she sends a back of stuff she wants me to correct in the lesson plan. And she's like, I want a materials sheet too. And she's like, I want you to actually show this stuff, and it's got to be professional, because she's like, you could be teaching adults here too. And if they're spending their hard-earned money, this better be professional rather than something that they have to be able to justify paying you for these classes, or else they could be just doing this stuff at home. So I ended up having to do it 3 different times. So then that knocks you back 3 days on your schedule of this getting stretched out. So and at the end of the 3 tries there, I started to think, I was like, okay, maybe the teacher is looking at it as no matter how good that you do, that they just kind of want to get a little bit more out of you, groom you to be the best, be the best that you can, And then I moved on to level 8, and of course, I got rejected on all the tries until my 3rd one there, and so then that took up 3 more days. And then on unit 10, when I finished that one up, it was amazingly, it was over New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So of course, over in the UK there, it's a holiday, so they weren't able to grade the next day on some of them. But she passed me after 2 attempts rather than 3. So I was like, wow, nice. And so I go and log in on the January 2nd, and yeah, so I logged in on January 2nd, and it showed that I completed the course 100%, and all that stuff was done, but I never got an email, no notification from them of them emailing my TEFL certificate. And I was like, what the heck? And so what the plan was, well, like I said, school was supposed to end on the 16th, but I finished up my finals for the semester on the 13th. So right after I finished my last final class, I paid for it on the 13th. And I got the first unit done on the 13th. So, and at that time, I'd had some question or whatever. So I had an account with them, and there is an email box there to contact your tutor and everything right on the website. And I sent that email, and during this entire course, nobody ever responded to it. And so I kind of remember that in my head there. So of this here, of me wanting to ask this question of where's my TEFL certificate? I'm just left in the dark here on January 2nd. So I go ahead and I send them an email on their website. And of course, nobody ever responded to it. And at the same time, I also sent out an email to the recruiter right after I paid for it. One of them emailed me of, trying to sell me more stuff or whatever, and if I have any questions or anything like that. And I'd actually emailed her some other time for something, and it took her 3.5 days to get back to me. So the customer service is terribly slow, and like I said, if you have any questions with your tutor, you can't send them a message, ask them a question, nothing, you're screwed. It's kind of like you're using that attempt on one of your 3 attempts on your assignment. So I went ahead and I sent that message, and after 2 days went by, I'm like, what the heck? So I go ahead and I call up they have a 1-800 number, and of course it's on UK time. So here in North Dakota, when it's midnight here, it's 7 in the morning, and of course that's probably when everybody's coming to work or whatever. And so you got to get up pretty early to get a hold of them. And I'd had an issue before. I tried to call them because my credit card didn't go through originally. And how they answer it is they're like, press 1 if you have a question about if you're a current somebody that currently has paid for a course, a current customer, or number 2 if you're not a current customer, a potential customer or whatever. So it goes through there, and it says if you're a current customer, and I press 1, and it instantly goes to number 2. So I press 2, and then it says, oh, timed out, you didn't press the button. So then it goes ahead and repeats itself, and I do that about 2 or 3 times, and sometimes I even had to hang up the phone, recall it. So the phone service is buggy and terrible with them too, to try and get a hold of them. So I went ahead and, like I said, I tried to call them, and it did that crap with me. So on my 3rd attempt, I finally got to go through, and a lady answered the phone, and I was like, "Where's my TEFL certificate?" I was like, "It shows that you guys graded it, and I got it done right away in the morning. That you guys said that I at 7 in the morning that I was already passed the class. And she's like, "Oh, we have to send that out to the awarding body, and they got to look it over and approve it." And she's like, "That usually takes 2 days." And I was like, "Yeah, it's already been 2.5 days." And she's like, "Well, with it being the holidays or something like that, she's like, give it it might take up to 4 business days or whatever." So I was like, "Okay, so what day should I call you back when this stuff doesn't go through?" And she's like, "It should be in by Friday." And I was like, "Okay." So I gave it 2 more days, and I got up at 7 in the morning on Friday here, the 6th, which is today. And I checked my email, and sure as heck, I did get an email from the customer support, and they're like, "Yep, congratulations on your passing your course. We have attached your printable TEFL certificate." There was absolutely no attachment attached to it. So I get on the phone and I call them up, and going through the 1-2, and of course it says the time's out. Did that about 3 times, and finally somebody answered. And when they answer, I was like, "Yeah, this employee here," they went ahead and they emailed it to me, and they said they attached it, but I was like, "They forgot to attach my TEFL certificate." And they're like, "Oh, we're so sorry about that." So the girl got it sorted out on there, and I was like, "I'm gonna stay on the phone with you, and I'm gonna be checking my email here until it comes through." And sure as heck, it did come through. And I was like, "I'd actually like to purchase the paper copy too from the UK." And I was like, "How much is that?" And she's like, "It is $76.85 for them to print it out and then mail it across the ocean there." And she's like, "It won't be, it'll take them like a week for them to get it back from whoever prints those out or whatever." And then she's like, and then they also send the course that it can take a month from the time they mail it for me to get it here in the U.S. And actually, I've received mail from overseas, because right before the pandemic, I was actually going to go to an American university in Bangkok. They had a satellite university over there, and they mailed out my paperwork that I signed, and that took exactly 21 days. So this is probably going to take, I'm guessing, a month, and hopefully I receive the paper one. but I did print out the e-copy. But I know that a lot of the employers, they want your actual physical one or whatever. So so these are my thoughts on it. First of all, I am very happy that I actually have my certificate now. So that's good, and the company is legit, but very stressful. Like I said, this entire time it was frustrating getting through those assignments, doing the lesson plans, and like I said, being left in the dark here. I didn't know if I was going to get my TEFL certificate mailed back to me, and nobody answering the phone or anything. So I can't recommend them. I don't know who I would recommend to go through, you guys. I know No Joke Howard. He went through that ITTT, and like I said, he got that done in 2 weeks, but that was only a 120 hour level 3, not a level 5 180 hour like I have. So I'm kind of in a different situation than a lot of those people. But I definitely was time crunched, and I realized that a lot of you guys are too, because like I said, I had to get this TEFL certificate done over Christmas break, because like I said, I have such a workload from last semester, and now going into spring semester, I wouldn't have time to be working on this TEFL thing here. Like I said, it would have been horrible if my plane ticket would have been to take off here on December 28th, and I would have been like No Joke Howard and signed up for the course 2 weeks ahead of time, and thought that I was going to hammer through it. And here it took me exactly 25 days from the time that I started on my first unit until the time that I actually received the e-certificate here. So that's quite some time. That, like I said, that's with me not having a job over Christmas vacation, working on this every day, and it is time consuming when you're making up these materials that you got to actually attach for the teacher and stuff, all these flashcards and all these pictures for your students. Yeah, so like I said, a lot of you guys are probably gonna be trying to do this right before. It's not gonna work out for you. And then what else? I was gonna say something else about the 2 weeks thing, but can't really think of what it is there. So but yeah, I'm oh okay. Now I remember. For the 180 hour, they give you 4 months to complete it from the time that you purchase this course. And boy, you guys would have a hell of a time completing this if you guys have a full-time job, or if you guys are actually going to college right now during this, trying to finish this during your 4 weeks. Because like I said, over the weekends, they're not going to be in or whatever. Or if it's over a holiday, there's going to be nobody to correct it. So this could really push it out. And like I said, with me working on every single day, it took me 25 days. And with you guys just being able to try to do it whenever you have a day off and hope that they have somebody in the office to correct your assignments, not good. So like I said, I told you about No Joke Howard, the company that he went through. I told you about Nick and Rachel there, that they went more through Oxford, through the local university. And I guess I can't think of anybody else of what all they went through, but yeah, good luck, and hope you guys find a good TEFL company to get your TEFL certificate. So take care, my friends.